The Monty Python film The Life of Brian was offensive to some Christians, and the scene in which several competing messiahs try to convince the marketplace that they are the real thing, in fact brilliantly and humorously captures Jewish expectations in first century Palestine. Not unlike the fervour at the end of the last millennium, when some religious people believed that the end of time was near, in Jesus' day, many people popped up and claimed to be the Messiah. In fact, then, God came to us in Jesus Christ and crept in beside us as a vulnerable baby. Jesus lived, suffered, died, and was raised from the tomb in a way that no one anticipated. Even after the resurrection, the earliest Christians believed Jesus would return very soon, so they could afford to live as if they were literally in the last days. When this didn't happen, a crisis emerged in the community. The earliest disciples, to whom much had been entrusted, had to now hand on the faith in a more unpredictable God who doesn't fulfill all our expectations or run to our timetable. Luke points out the greatest gift we Christians have received is knowing that Jesus is the Messiah, the Christ. Some people think that Christ is his last name, but Christ is a title. It means, in Hebrew, the Anointed One. Isn't it a relief to know that we don't have to shop around anymore? From everyone to whom much has been given, however, much will be required, and so knowing who Jesus is goes some of the way. Living out the reality of following our Messiah is the other part. Today's gospel teaches us that our Christian life should be marked by 5 characteristics. We are called to share what we have with those in need, to be ready to act justly, to stay alert to the presence of God in the world, to guard against those people or things that can rob us of our faith, and not abuse others and live in peace. With or without a sense that Jesus is due back at any minute, the Christian life is meant to focus on the essentials. 2,000 years later, we're still waiting for Jesus' return, and many of us live complicated lives that can rob us of true happiness. Sadly, it often takes a tragedy for us to reassess what we've been given. Some of us remember the terrible Columbine High School massacre. One of the people who survived that day, one of the students, wrote a very somber appraisal of how he sees the world and what he thinks we should be passing on to the next generation. Let me quote what he wrote. "The paradox of our time in history is that we have taller buildings but shorter tempers, wider freeways but narrower viewpoints. We spend more time but we have less. We buy more but enjoy less. We have bigger houses and smaller families, more conveniences but less time. We have more degrees but less sense, more knowledge but less judgment, more experts but seemingly less solutions, more medicine but less health. We have multiplied our possessions but reduced our value. We talk too much, love too seldom, and hate too often. We've learnt how to make a living, not a life. We've added the years to our life, but not life to our years. We've been to the moon and back, but have trouble crossing the street to meet our neighbour. We've conquered outer space, but not inner space. We've cleaned up the air, but polluted the soul. We've split the atom, but not our prejudice. We have higher incomes, but lower morale. We've become long on quantity, but short on quality. These are the times of tall people, but short character, steep profits and shallow relationships. These are times of world peace, but domestic violence, more leisure, but less fun, more kinds of food, but less nutrition. These are the days of 2 incomes, but more divorce, of fancier houses, but broken homes. It's a time when there is so much in the showroom window and nothing in the stockroom. That's from a kid who survived being murdered, who then went to assess their own life. We all know that the world is not quite so neat and either or as he's described. But it does raise the important question for us this Sunday. What are our essentials from Jesus in living our daily faith?